What is up, guys? Today we're doing something really fucking special. It's not too special. It's okay. It's not like that crazy of a concept. But basically, I left a comment and on this Dean Withers video. It's not even his actual TikTok, but it's a clip. And if you believe it or not, check this shit out. Oh my god, I got 2,000 likes. I got 2,000 fucking likes on that shit. It's really, yeah. So what does 2,000 likes mean in the TikTok realm? It basically means that I've dominated the comment section here. Out of all the motherfuckers on here, it appears to be thousands, right? Because I got 2,000 likes, so I'm the top comment. All right, I'm the top dog, basically. Okay, when you come to this comment section, you're looking at me. All right, you're looking for leadership. You're looking at me. So, okay, what is this about? What is this about? What is this comment? I'm sure you've already read it. It says he cried because... So, context. This is the best part. You love this part. I love this part. This is context. Okay. So, Dean Withers, if you know him, he's a blonde boy. He's kind of feminine. He's a little bit intellectual for a leftist. Unfortunately, he does resort to making a lot of metaphors that don't really... seem to apply very well. So I said he cried. So basically, Dean Withers was talking about Charlie Kirk, and he was saying like, "Oh, Charlie Kirk, what a piece of shit," and saying all this crap. If you can, I'll just play it for you guys real quick. You can take a listen.
Because actually the guy right below you, Parker, he was less than 30.
I don't have my headphones in, so I can't really hear what he's saying, but I already understand like what this is about. I'm not specifically going to talk about what he's saying.
Exactly what it looked like that day.
But I am going to talk about
ambulances and
how people respond to
everybody thinking there's going to be a part of a mass shooting.
Sorry, I'm
all
kind of
while I'm
interrupting
on
this.
live, and then I saw the video of his aorta getting ripped right the fuck open. Scared it could happen to me.
He's just talking about why he cried when Charlie Kirk died, and he's saying, yeah, basically, what I noticed what these leftists do in all of these comments and people I've talked to, like, or whatever, they say like, oh, they go, oh yeah, he cried because he was human. It doesn't matter if he was evil or not. It's like, and I commented he cried because deep down he knew Charlie Kirk was a good person. He didn't deserve it, right? And I find it like it's so like just disingenuous that Dean Withers would say like Charlie Kirk was a bad person. However, I cried because it was so terrifying to see. It's like, dude, that's like so like, oh my gosh. It's like just the fact that you would talk shit about someone, but like admit to your human side too and say, oh wow, that was fucked up. It's like if your immediate instinct is to talk shit about someone when they die, like that does not make you a good fucking person, dude. That's like, oh my god, I can't even like. I used to not like. I didn't like Joe Biden. I didn't like fucking. Like Kamala Harris and shit. But dude, if they died, I would not fucking sit there and say, oh, they were a bad person. They were evil. It's like, dude, if that's your immediate okay. And I want to say this especially. I think Charlie Kirk was such a more like a way better person than both of those people combined, right? But if your immediate instinct, see, that's why it's like especially like jarring to me. But yeah, dude, if like you come out and say, "Oh wow, what a piece of shit," it really goes to show like just the level of like insanity and like I hate to sit here and I don't want to. My goal here is not to talk shit and say all this, but I will make this a quick point. And it's basically like the lack of sympathy is just insane. Like they're like, you can tell there's like so much cognitive dissonance here because on one hand they feel like for Charlie Kirk and on the other they do not. So why do we so like even when I've talked to actual leftists, I know like they won't like specific. It's funny, like I find it interesting. So many people said he was a bad person, but like if you actually sit down and talk to one of these liberals for like 2 seconds, they'll admit like, okay, he wasn't a bad person. Right? And then you're like, that's interesting. So you don't actually believe he was a bad person, but you're sitting here talking shit. And that's how a lot of them do. So we'll go through a couple of these and I'll just, we can even read some of my responses here. I said, I as a person can acknowledge that Charlie was a piece of shit. This is so, they're responding to me. I as a person can acknowledge that Charlie Kirk was a piece of shit, but he also didn't deserve to die. I don't really think that anybody deserves to die unless a threshold has met, and which threshold would be like murdering somebody else. But yeah, I think most sane people don't think that he deserved to die. Oh my god. This is interesting because he says He says most sane people, right? So let's rewind the clock here a little bit. So your immediate instinct was, this is a lot of people. I'm not saying this person did this immediately, but it's like you can tell just how like emotional people got and how big of a deal this was, and how we're the ones that immediately came out first saying Charlie Kirk was a good person. He did not deserve this. He was an amazing person. And then that's when these motherfuckers came out and started saying Charlie Kirk is evil. He's a horrible person. And then they tried to double down on that, and then we doubled down on the fact that he was a good person. It became this crazy thing. The propaganda machine just got like even louder on the left, trying to say he's a bad person, and we know they only did it because we said he was a good person. So, because we began that narrative, okay, we started that narrative, and they responded to us by saying this. But all this did was show our like we actually had a we the right typically has a heart for the left, and I will even clip Charlie Kirk saying this himself, like, how can I hate someone I have a heart for, right? And so they try to say that he spreads hate, but he will say in his own words, I don't hate anyone. He says that my emotions are I do not hate anyone, right? So these are lies. Like, we can go through and we can mark off every single thing they say bad about him. We can give context, and we can debunk the fact that they even say, like, oh wow, he has hate in his heart, he specifically hates these people. It's not true. Okay, it is not true. There's so, like, I think the evidence for this is like in the 90 percentile. Like, it's 90% of the evidence shows that Charlie Kirk is not in fact what they claim him to be. But what we have is the propaganda machine spreads this narrative with the 10% of information that is, by the way, not even very good evidence in any regard that he is. It really, actually, I like personally, like, when I saw like the clips that they show of him like being a quote unquote piece of shit, it really just made it very apparent to me, because I had the full context and I understood what he was saying, that they were really reaching, basically. So like, you could tell that the propaganda machine really needed to make him look as bad as they possibly can, and he was such a good person that it was really hard for them to do it, right? So like, the actual information they used to talk shit on Charlie Kirk was like not even that good. I was like, oh, so they are actually reaching here. Because, dude, you could go like, we can literally use anyone else, any other Republican, and you could probably make them look 10 times worse. But Charlie Kirk was like one of our best, like one of our goodest people, and so it was really hard for them to attack him. Okay, so if you took Trump, that would not be hard to make Trump look like a piece of shit. It would not be difficult, trust me. I think everybody in the world can agree on that. Okay, it would not be hard to make Trump look bad. All right. In fact, I think the right knows how well the left has been able to do that. Obviously, I mean, like, it hasn't worked out for them very well, but as far as like what they were trying to accomplish, but they're good at convincing people that Trump is a horrible person. And I personally, I have a very mixed opinion about Trump right now, but that's fine. We can skip that. But I'm just saying, Charlie Kirk, they were definitely reaching, and we can play some of those clips. So. So two things can be true at the same time. Charlie Kirk could have been a terrible person, but also it can be so true that he didn't deserve to die. I don't know what makes people struggle with this concept so much. Okay, so the issue here is the context, sir. So when you, ma'am, Miranda.
I cried because
okay, so
actually,
when you're, like I said, your immediate instinct is to come out here and say, oh, he did. Like, oh, he wasn't a good person as soon as they die. That's crazy. That's like if I said, oh, Joe Biden wasn't a good person. Like, it's the context. Why else would you be saying he's not a good person unless you thought that he deserved it? Like, where's the common sense in that fucking phrasing? Like, what are you talking about? And this is in the vast majority of people. They try to say, like, you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to, what they do, this is all ego, okay? They're trying to make themselves look like they're not bad people, because in order for them to say that someone deserved to die, that is being so heavily defended by everyone else saying he's a good person, they themselves would have to view themselves as a bad person in order to say that he died. So what they're doing is they have cognitive dissonance, and so they're coming out and saying, well, he wasn't a good person, but he didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? And so they're just trying to cover their own ass. But really, they think he deserved to die.
You know, like,
and so they just don't want to feel like they're a piece of shit. That's it.
He was a dude on your phone.
And so listen. like
fucking despise
I might
Charlie
get
Kirk
hate for
just
this
as
one
much
because
as the next guy.
I have some
But he
friends
wasn't
that
just a
like
dude on the
didn't like Charlie Kirk.
phone. My
But
best-
I'm
my best friend was
it's like
there.
it's the context of it, bro. It's like you come out and say he did. Like these friends are they're a lot cooler. They
I
agree like,
cried
oh yeah, he
because
didn't
I,
deserve to die.
Actually,
And I think
the
they're
guy
kind of
like-
open to like the
He was
fact
less
that he
than
was.
30
I
feet
think
away when
I
it
can
happened.
I'm so confident I
I
can
got
prove he was a
on
good
the
person.
ground,
Like by any fucking standard that you
exactly
would
what it
get
looked
from
like
like
that
these
day,
people
like,
that claim he's a
students
bad person, we can
running
say he's a good person.
ambulances.
It's interesting, like
Everybody
it really is. I
part of
think
a
so.
mass shooting.
They really would be surprised. I would say they would be surprised. Like I've seen Charlie Kirk defending gay people. I've seen him, like speaking like sympathetically to like trans people. Like I've seen him have an open mind with different leftists that come up.
That's something.
Like I see him like he always went into a conversation warmly and with a heart, as he so claimed, right? And I've seen that. Okay, so that was 90% of his interactions. Okay, and typically you would have these like very few interactions where you'd have these grifters come up just to cause like chaos, right? And then he would like respond like kind of negatively to it, and it wasn't like not even that big of a deal. He responded very like even in a respectful way too.
I fucking despise her.
Or not like typically be respectful, but if they try to mess with him, then he messes with them back a little bit. It's not like even that crazy. Okay, there's way worse people. All right, like Trump is way worse as far as like the hecklers, you know, that come up.
Actually, the guy he was less than 30 feet away when it happened.
So I said
Charlie Cook was an exceptional human being, an extremely good, honest, truthful person that cared about all groups of people.
His words, I've had heart for them, spoken many times, and would consistently preach the Bible, which to a non-religious person is at the very least mutually beneficial philosophy for everyone. So I believe that's. So you tell me why you're so ignorant to those basic facts. Explain. I'll wait. I'm sick of you fuckers pretending to think he was the opposite of what we actually know to be true, that he was a beautiful human being on the inside. I personally think the people that hate him are extremely ignorant to what he actually preached and how he talked to people. I would bet my life on that. Nobody deserves it, but he was not a good person. See, it's the same fucking phrasing because they have these egos that they're trying to protect. Zafrika, or whatever his name is, cannot be a bad person, right? So he says, I don't think he deserved it, but as soon as he died, I started saying that he was a bad person, but he didn't deserve it. But he's a bad person, but he didn't. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say something like that within that context and then say he didn't deserve it also. So you tell like those are two contradicting circumstances there. So let's go down. They tried saying he created a platform based on hate. It's like crazy how he built a platform based on hate, but didn't actually hate you. And he quite literally said, "How can same phrasing?" You see, that's the reality, and you won't respond to me because you deep down know the truth. I noticed this too. A lot of leftists would not respond to me in these comments. I think it's because I made very solid points, and I would typically like. It's interesting because there is only one truth, correct? There's only one truth, and the people that know the truth, and they will say this is the truth. Okay, the people that don't know the truth have cognitive dissonance, right? As we can see, we can go through here, or don't know the truth. I would argue they do know the truth, and that's the point of cognitive dissonance, right? But they themselves will. I believe know they are being disingenuous. They don't have the level of confidence in their own beliefs and claims that we do. Okay, so we can compare. Like if you take a look, I said I would bet my life. Do you see them saying they would bet their life that he was evil? No, you do not see that. Okay, because they don't see that level of confidence.
Everybody else.
All right, they have. But what we do see is cognitive dissonance. All right, and this is the fact. This is what we're noticing here. It's more like a choice. It's more like they have this idea that no, they don't, or that no, like they know they have this idea that they know he wasn't as bad as they're trying to portray, but they still didn't like him, and so they're trying to, because he probably doesn't match up with their ideologies. But that is the problem: is that their ideologies are more important to them than what is good, just, and true. Okay, so they're defending that above all else, which is like I'm not. Look, I don't want to be that guy that fucking comes out and says these are pieces of shit. I probably maybe I was being a little bit negative, but I actually don't like to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. So I'm just saying I'm trying to make a point here, and the point is basically this is the truth. Okay, this is the truth. Charlie Kirk was a good person. Okay, and like you can argue with me, and I'm probably if I get comments saying, "Oh,
not a lot of
Ethan, it's not true." Okay, Ethan, we have our own opinions. Ethan, that's obviously it's impossible for me to like convince everyone, right?
Regardless if you like them or not. You see their fucking
I don't think that's. I think the goal. I think actually.
Like,
it's impossible for me to convince everyone. I disagree.
Like I understand to you.
I do think
everybody
that we
else
can see another. Okay,
phone.
let me make another point about these leftists. All right, so some of the people I talk to, like
I
just
fucking
girls,
despise
leftists I
Charlie
talk to,
Kirk just as much as the
I will talk to them. I will
but
say,
he wasn't just a dude on the phone.
hey, have you like have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen Charlie Kirk saying this? Because you're saying that he said all this and this and that, and then I give them the context for that. And I say this is what he meant, right? And then it's like, how's that really that bad? And I'm like, well. And then I'm like, yeah, see? And then I'll be like, hey, have you ever seen him say this? And then they're like, no.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So you're making such a strong claim, but you've never actually seen this or had the full context.
Dude,
It's like you have this narrow window of context that you're grabbing onto. And then here's the interesting part. I've had this happen multiple times. Multiple times. Very interesting. A very interesting detail. When I asked them, would you like me to show you? Would you like me to show you? And then we can both say what we think. They immediately go, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
In real life.
Weird.
That's something
I've had multiple people think about that. Interesting. So what does that tell you? That tells you that it's a choice. They don't choose. This is what happens when you're not actually confident in your own beliefs, right? So if you're willing to cut out specific information, then you are not confident in your beliefs. Okay.
Oh my God.
So this is the thing. On the right, we love. Have you ever noticed how we're the ones coming out and talking to a bunch of different people? Right. I mean, Dean Withers, he goes and talks to people, but he doesn't talk to very smart people. Okay, it's not like he's on the college campus. He's not talking to people that can actually study this stuff or actually care to come up. Like he doesn't argue with PhDs or any fucking shit that Charlie Kirk did. Right? He's arguing with just random people on TikTok that don't know shit, which is like way different. Okay, so he's actually a smarter guy, so he's able to make good arguments. But here's the thing. These leftists, typically, they choose to have like this narrow context because they're not confident in those beliefs, and like here's the thing is on the right, if you'll notice, this is the important key factor here. On the right, you'll notice, oh, Charlie Kirk, he comes out and he has a conversation with all these different leftists, right? All these very smart people. He is so confident in his beliefs that there's no one that could come up to that mic and he would lose to. He knows there is no one that will come up to that mic that he's going to lose to. And it's not because he's so stubborn and all these propaganda words and so stuck up and so such a bad person and he doesn't actually care what people think. No. It's because what he believes in is true. That's why. So you can just look at people's behaviors and determine if there's like more truth to what they're saying. And to give Dean Withers the benefit of the doubt, he tends to do this a lot more, and he tends to have better arguments, right? And yet he tends to say things that are not necessarily that aren't necessarily that incorrect. And I see this is why I don't always disagree necessarily with everything he says. I would say when he uses metaphors that don't they're just like anything made up off the top of his head that are redundant. To like realistic standards, I would say like, oh, okay, yeah, that's probably not very intellectual. Like one time he compared like women and men to a phone case, and I was like, that's fucking weird. You know what I mean? And then but that's the thing is, he's also like smug. I've noticed that a lot of leftists, they'll be like really smug. Like the actual smart ones are smug. I don't know why. It's interesting. The point being, this is like obviously there can be a few leftists that have like good arguments or a little bit more confident in themselves, but this is like not even like the right is so much more prevalent in this. This is like one of their only people, dude. So like, and I like that's the thing is like I'm just saying like the vast majority of leftists, they have a very very narrow context, and I've experienced this personally. So That's why like I don't think that like even Dean like I just feel like he doesn't have very like he doesn't really like he doesn't usually always even have the strongest arguments too. It's like it's kind of silly, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like we give a pretty like solid opinion on all of this shit. We can go through like a real quick rundown of all these comments. He wasn't a good person, but no one deserves that empathy, dude. They're like fucking they're like a fucking. It's like they have the woke mind virus, bro. They're all saying the same shit. He wasn't a good person, but no one deserves that. It's like you're clearly misinformed about what he actually said regarding empathy. Oh, let's read this. I'm ready. Let's read this. I'm ready. If you are going to use his quote, use all of it. I can't stand the word empathy. I think empathy is a made-up new age term and does not. There's a lot of damage. Sympathy is a better word because empathy means you are actually feeling what another person felt, and no one can feel what another person feels. Okay, this is like I don't really have a comment on this. I mean that may be. I mean like this like you can argue with this. I'm not gonna say like this. I don't know if this is a. Are they trying to make him look bad? I feel like that doesn't really make him look bad at all. I feel like it's just an opinion he had. Like what? And that's not. I mean, obviously, I don't think this is true. Like you can obviously feel what fucking train. You can obviously feel what someone else is feeling, not precisely, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna understand exactly what they're going through. That is true. But you can have like you can similarly. He was actually a great person. No empathy you don't deserve at all. Sorry, he said that children that died in school shootings were worth it to keep his gun rights. Okay, this is another interesting one. So I guess like see this is the thing is that when Charlie Kirk said this is like completely it's I like the like okay so this is what I'm saying like the contrived like nature of saying that's a bad thing of him to have said, right? That like they're reaching, right? It really seems like it, right? Well, yeah, it's worth it to keep the gun rights. It's like, okay, well, technically, factually, that is true. Okay, technically, right? But it doesn't sound that good to say, right? It sounds kind of fucked up to say in a way. Not kind of. It's like it's kind of weird. But obviously he's defending gun rights and he's saying like, oh yeah, we need guns despite the fact that this is happening because it's more important that we have these guns to protect us from a communist country taking over, right? Think about it like this. Let's just go over this historically why this is better, right? So this is what Charlie Kirk was really saying. So historically, communist nations basically the people revolt against the government, right? So how many people die in that process, right? So when he says, "Oh, guns are necessary despite these hardships and hard times that we go through," it's still on a smaller level than if we had a fucking government like controlling everything we do. Because how many people would end up dying from that, right? If we revolted or if they just fucking treat us like shit. Like look at China, right? Like just it's insane. Look at Nazi Germany. Look at all these different fucking places, man. So yeah, I mean, like he makes that there's a pretty strong argument there. But however, I think that you can make a better argument. You can say this is what we should do. I don't think it's like the only thing I would say in this instance is Charlie Kirk kind of disregarded the fact that this is like an important issue, and he's saying like, oh, it's worth it, just ignore it. It's worth it. Who gives a shit? But another thing is like I don't think I've actually. I gotta go back and rewatch it because maybe it's like, dude, these are like very few things. Like people have said way worse fucking like actually the average person or in fact any person in this comment section, or in fact any person at all has said worse things than this. Okay, Charlie Kirk would broadcast his fucking life every single day, dude. So you're sitting here saying like, oh look, I found this horrible thing he said. But it's like, dude, this is so underwhelming compared to like what he could have said, right? And so it just goes to show that if this is the best you can do, like, dude, he's fucking must have been an actual good person, right? So I mean, I'm making a pretty good argument here. I mean, it's like at that point you're just kind of choosing to hate him because no matter what, everyone's gonna say fucked up shit, especially liberals. Especially liberals, they say some pretty fucked up shit. Way more fucked up than that. Like, I don't even know. I wouldn't wish him harm upon a million years. It's sad, dude. Politics shouldn't. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up this video, but I think you get my point, right? I was just reviewing the comment section. I was trying to make a point about leftists, and I think what we said is the absolute truth, and I hope maybe I changed some people's minds. I know maybe I might have sounded possibly a little bit aggressive. I'm not trying to be like that. Dude, we care about the truth here. We care about the truth. And to be honest with you, I'm at a point where it's like, I don't like to argue with people. I'd rather use like nonviolent communication and express myself and my viewpoints without backlash. So like if we can do that, that is the goal. That's what Charlie Kirk tried to do a lot of the time. He actually, it's interesting. I read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I actually noticed a lot of the principles from that book that Charlie Kirk would use when he spoke to people. That's why he got such positive reactions most of the time when doing that, unless you had like these grifters that would, or am I using the right grifters? That is not the right term. I know what the grifter is. Hecklers. Is that the right? Can we use that? I think. So he'd have these hecklers that came up and would fuck with them, right? And that's when he would kind of bite back, right? Which I think you kind of need to do. I actually believe in that too. Like someone comes and punches you in the face, bro. Like, oh yeah, oh man, let's talk about it. No, dude, you can't do that. All right. You're immediately in the shit right then because the emotions are flying high. You can't like, bro. You're not gonna calm anyone. Like, there's no non-violent communication at the point the violence has already happened. And then at that point, the best thing you can do is tire them out, beat the fuck out of them. And then de-escalate the situation as fast as possible, right? And so I'm not saying that was a metaphor, right? Like Dean Withers, maybe a little bit unrealistic, like Dean Withers, but I'm trying to be. Fuck, I'm just ranting. I'm sorry. Okay, so the point is, Mr. Charlie Kirk was a good dude. All right, have a good one. Fuck off.